Hey friends, I'm so glad that you are back with me today as we continue reading The Tale of Despereaux by Kate DiCamillo. The last part that we just were reading, we talked about Chiaroscuro and we've talked about Despereaux. We are meeting a new character today in book the third. Her name is Miggery Sow. We're going to call her Mig for short a lot in this story, but before we get started, I want to give you a little introduction about it. In fairy tales, a lot of times there are characters who might have had a really sad past, which means things were not very good to them. Unfortunately, this is how Mig was. You are going to hear that she has ears that almost look like cauliflower. They call it a clout to the ear, but what happened is when she was young, somebody would hit the side of her head so hard and they would call it a good clout to the ear. Now, we're very lucky. No one in our lives are doing that to us. Unfortunately, in fairy tales, sometimes this happens. Because of Meg's ears, she has a hard time hearing, so things are not clear to her. She also says the word gore a lot, almost like, huh? If she doesn't understand what's happening. I hope that introduction helps you a little bit. If you have any other questions, please reach out and ask me. We're going to go ahead and start right now, book the third, Gore, the Tale of Miggery Sow. Chapter 24, a handful of cigarettes, a red tablecloth, and a hen. Again, reader, we must go backward before we can go forward. With that said, here begins a short history of the life and times of Miggery Sow, a girl born into this world many years before the mouse Despereaux and the rat Chiaroscuro. A girl born far from the castle, a girl named for her father's favorite prize-winning pig. Miggery Sow was 6 years old when her mother, holding on to Meg's hand and staring directly into Meg's eyes, died. "Ma," said Meg, "Ma, couldn't you stay here with me?" "Oh," said her mother. "Who is that? Who is that holding my hand?" "It's me, Ma, Miggery Sow." "Child, let me go." But I want you to stay here," said Meg, wiping first at her runny nose and then at her runny eyes. "You want," said her mother. "Yes," said Meg, I want." "Child, and what does it matter what you are wanting?" said her mother. She squeezed Meg's hand once, twice, and then died, leaving Meg alone with her father, who, on a market day in spring soon after his wife's death, sold his daughter into service for a handful of cigarettes, a red tablecloth, and a hen. "Papa?" said Meg when her father was walking away from her with the hen in his arm, a cigarette in his mouth, and the red tablecloth draped across his shoulders like a cape. "Go on, Meg," he said. "You belong to that man now." "I don't want to, Papa," he said. "I want to go with you." She took hold of the red tablecloth and tugged on it. "Oh, Lord, child," her father said, "and who is asking you what you want? Go on now." He untangled her fingers from the cloth and turned her into the direction of the man who had bought her. Meg watched her father walk away, the red tablecloth billowing out behind him. He left his daughter. And reader, as you already know, he did not look back, not even once. Can you imagine it? Can you imagine your father selling you for a tablecloth, a hen, and a handful of cigarettes? Close your eyes, please, and consider it for just a moment. Done? I hope that the hair on the back of your neck stood up as you thought of Meg's fate and how it would be if it were your own. Poor Meg. What will become of her? You must, frightened though you may be, read on and see for yourself. Reader, it is your duty. Friends, we've met the character who sold Meg. Where do you think you met that character? We'll read one more chapter today. Chapter 25, A Vicious Circle. Miggery Sow called the man who purchased her uncle, as he said she must. And also, as he said she must, Meg tended Uncle's sheep and cooked Uncle's food and scrubbed Uncle's kettle. She did all of this without a word of thanks or praise from the man himself. Another unfortunate fact of life with Uncle was that he very much liked giving Meg what he referred to as a good clout to the ear. In fairness to Uncle, it must be reported that he did always inquire whether or not Meg was interested in receiving the clout. Their daily exchanges went something like this. Uncle, I thought I told you to clean the kettle. Meg, I cleaned it, Uncle. I cleaned it good. Uncle, oh, it's filthy. You'll have to be punished, won't you? Meg, Gore, Uncle, I cleaned the kettle. Uncle, are you saying me that I'm a liar, girl? Meg, no, Uncle. Uncle, you want a good clout to the ear then? Meg, no, thank you, Uncle, I don't. Alas, Uncle seemed to be as entirely unconcerned with what Meg wanted as her mother and her father had been. The discussed clout to the ear was always delivered. Delivered, I'm afraid, with a great deal of enthusiasm on Uncle's part, and received with absolutely no enthusiasm at all on the part of Meg. These clouts were alarmingly frequent, and Uncle was scrupulously fair in paying attention to both the right and left side of Meg South. So it was that after a time, the young Meg's ears came to resemble not so much ears as pieces of cauliflower stuck to either side of her head. And they became about as useful to her as pieces of cauliflower. That is to say, they all but ceased their functioning as ears. Words for Meg lost their sharp edges, and then they lost their edges altogether and became blurry, blankety things that she had a great deal of trouble making any sense out of at all. The less Meg heard, the less she understood. The less she understood, the more things she did wrong. And the more things she did wrong, the more clouts to the ear she received, and the less she heard. This is what is known as a vicious circle. And Miggery Sal was right in the center of it, which is not, reader, where anybody would want to be. But then, as you know, what Miggery Sal wanted had never been much of concern to anyone. We're going to go ahead and stop there today. I feel pretty bad for Miggery Sal, and we're going to see her in our story a lot, and hopefully we'll see her story get a little bit better. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.